showing you another financial literacy activity that I have done with my students in previous years. This will give them some definite appreciation of their parents when it comes to buying a car and mortgages and all that. So we're basically setting up a scenario in which they're going to choose a car to buy, and based off of the last name, whatever the last name starts with, will determine what their Fico score is, which will give them what their interest rate is going to be. And we break it down to what their monthly payments are going to be over a course of time. Same thing with the mortgage. They see that, you know, after you've paid off your house, that you're almost paying double, if not more, after a 30-year mortgage. So in years past, the kids' reactions are priceless because of they realize like how the real world really works when it comes to financial literacy and things like that. I want to break it down for you. I will be sharing out the worksheet that you can use. It is a PDF, so if you wanted to copy it and kind of edit it yourself, you could probably do so. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. This also sparks a lot of good conversation about FICO scores and what it actually means and how it works. The kids love it because, and as a teacher, I love it as well because it definitely shows them how the world really works and that things aren't just like, you know, you can't just, you know, go out there and buy anything without saving. And I think it's a great life lesson as well, so check it out. All right, so this is what the first sheet of the document talks about. It's basically giving them a background of what they're gonna do for the day. I'm in a school where we're only doing 45-minute classes. That's gonna change soon, but I usually give them up to 2 days to do this because it can be rather lengthy, and for the special ed kids, you definitely want to try and modify it a bit and help them out. So it says, in this activity, students will explore the basics of buying a car and a house. This activity will help students understand simple interest and real life settings. Students will be given a credit score based off of their last name, plus they will have a lot of fun being able to pick a home and a car of their choice. So this worksheet, like I said, I've used over the past couple years, so it could seem a little outdated. The other thing is that, like I said, you can edit it as much as you want, but we're talking about simple interest here. You could easily manipulate it to do compound interest if you have a more advanced group to differentiate, but for the most part, I think that this is a good straightforward way to go about it. All right, so then our next thing is our FICO score. We talk about that, so it can change from the car to the house, so you're not always in the poor section there. So you can see that you can talk about how, you know, why if you have a poor credit score, you get a higher interest rate. That's a good conversation starter there. And once again, it mixes it up. So, you know, I've always had a name towards the end of the alphabet, so you know, I got picked last or whatever, you know, maybe for multiple reasons, but you can see all that there. It's a great piece to talk about. You know, it's something they can bring home. And then you can see how the credit scores work up top with that little pie chart there. All right, and then the first part here is the buying a car. Like I said, some of these prices might need to be up to date. So we have a Kia Soul, a Ford truck, a Dodge Charger, a Jeep Wrangler. You could easily manipulate this if you want. So they're gonna pick one car, and then, you know, at this point they should have their interest rate written down for the car. And then there's a separate sheet that they can provide more work, which I'll show in a minute. So the first thing is how much interest will you pay for your purchase? So we're just looking at simple interest, all right? Just you know, we're thinking annually, all right, based off of what car they're going to choose here. And then if your car loan is for 6 years, how much will you pay in total? You know, and then this is another good conversation starter. Say, you know, usually people finance a car from anywhere to 5 to 6 years. You can talk about financing versus leasing. You can also even make this a little more difficult to differentiate and throw in some sales tax based off what state you're in. And then the last thing will be, what will your monthly payments be? You know, and then this will talk about, you know, this can lead into, you know, if you can afford what that monthly payment is, and then versus buying versus leasing and all that as well. All right, then we get into the homes. So we have a little of everything here. We have a condo that's downtown, a townhouse, a one-story home, and then a two-story home based off of family size and all that. A lot of kids don't even know what a townhouse is, you know, based off of where we're at. I live in, or we're in a suburban area here where there's not a lot of like housing in terms of like townhouses and stuff like that, and they're middle school kids. So that's a good way to start a conversation. Same thing, more or less, you're gonna talk about what your interest will be just annually for now, all right? And then if your house loan is for 30 years, how much will you pay in total, All right, so you may need to do some guided practice with that, with maybe just a made up one just to show you that the price is going to be rather large. And then you're going to break down what your monthly payments are as well there. So the key with that is that, you know, you don't want the kids to break it down by dividing by 30, which you probably already know. You want to divide by 360, 30 times 12. So that's a good thing to go over as well with your kids if they don't already know that. And then here is the sheet that you can use to provide work. In some cases, maybe even something a little bigger if you wanted to make that larger. But it's a great piece to use, a great thing. I usually send a note home letting parents know that we're going to do this, kind of to have them like piggyback on it and talk about, you know, have a conversation at dinner or whatever. But I think that the kids leave this lesson with a little bit more appreciation of what their parents do for them, and that, you know, things, you have to work hard for things, and how these corporations and things make a lot of money off of interest rates and things like that. So enjoy. I will be sharing out a link in the description below.